Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Spider-Man 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at Spidey in his final swingsuit from the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. Now I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research, make sure you are comfortable before buying. I have popped a link to their site in the description below, along with the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new Hot Toys Spidey figure review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, front and center we have an image of Spidey jumping through one of Doctor Strange's portals, and he's quite clearly being chased by some of the villains. I know why they did this, but it doesn't make a ton of sense now, does it? By the time Spidey was wearing this, the villains had already been sent back to their various dimensions, and Spidey was swinging around in the snow. I would have liked something a bit more special for the last figure in the line. They wanted to keep it consistent though, and I totally understand. Spidey is done in high gloss, same thing with the rest of the artwork, and the web pattern over the matte textured background. Now, it was only until way later when concept art started to appear for this guy online that people noticed the spider symbol is gold. Luckily, Hot Toys completely ignored that with the figure itself. I don't mean to speak for everyone, and I don't know how you feel about a gold spider logo. For me, putting a gold logo on a suit as beautiful as this is a surefire way to ruin the design. Now on the side of the box, we have this almost TV scanline effect over the top of some images of the actual figure, his name, his arm spilling over the edge from the front cover, a touch of electricity from Electro, and a bit of Doc Ock's tentacle as well. Around the back, warnings, legal information, all of the boring stuff. Then up top, we do have this techie looking web pattern that is done in high gloss on the otherwise matte textured background. We are so close now, I cannot wait to get him out here. Underneath the slipcover, an open window showcasing Spidey and all of his accessories inside. His name, once more on the side of the box, and the artwork from the back does spill over the edge. Question for y'all, how do you feel about the name New Red and Blue Suit? I think it's a bit goofy. Granted, Final Swingsuit isn't much better. Before it had an official name, I was calling it the Iconic Suit. Maybe it's too early to call it that. Just let me know what you think in the comments. Around the back, Spider-Man New Red and Blue Suit, Deluxe version, the cracked multiverse right through the middle of a Spidey logo that's meant to look like one of Doctor Strange's spells. Oh, and the white splotches are meant to be the villains trying to break through the cracked multiverse. This is the moment I've been waiting for ever since I saw this suit on screen for the first time. Yes, I was just as hype as everyone else to see Toby and Andrew back. But this suit at the end of the movie, that's all I could think about, and I could not wait to get my hands on a figure. So far, first in hand impressions, really freaking good. This guy looks bloody brilliant. What we're going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the lightbox and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the Deluxe diorama display base. If you're looking at this right now and you're thinking to yourself, oh no, I do not have room for a base that big. Don't worry about it. There's also a standard version of the new Red and Blue Suit Spidey, and he comes with a much more compact hexagonal base. If you do have room for it, go for the upgrade. You are not going to regret it. This is now my new favorite diorama display base that they've ever made. We've got the fire escape on one side, we've got the AC unit, a chimney up on top, a pipe, and even a window with some snow on the window ledge. Not only does it look good, it's also very functional. We've got multiple flat surfaces that we can have Spidey standing on. Hot Toys were getting a touch carried away with their more recent diorama bases. They were more diorama art pieces than bases because they were very difficult to work with when it came to posing. Not the case with this one. This is going to be a dream for just basic museum poses if you want to have Spidey standing on a flat surface. Or you can get more dynamic with it. We do get an adjustable flight pole with a spring-loaded waist clamp. Do yourself a favor, do not use this. As tempting as it is to have Spidey jumping in mid-air, this is going to dig into his suit and cause irreversible damage to it over time. Now, I only have two complaints with this base. The first is that this bracket is not removable, try as I might, it's not going anywhere, which is very frustrating. And the second is that, see this window? They've used a translucent piece of plastic to make it look like a real window. But there's nothing inside. They could have put a printed piece of cardboard in there to make it look like something is going on inside the building. We will go into much more detail on this Tom Holland head sculpt when we actually pop it on the body a bit later. We do get a mask to have him holding if you do have him unmasked in the collection. And before you ask, no, you cannot put the fabric mask on this head sculpt. Don't try it, you are bound to damage something. Ah yes, the usual lens suspects. They all have the same level of detail with the sculpted in aperture for the closing lens mechanism, and there's this shiny metallic honeycomb pattern for the middle eye section. So we get fully wide open ones already installed on him, slightly less fully wide open, on the way to being fully squinted, and fully squinted. I'll show you how these work and what they look like on the masked head sculpt when we get Spidey out here. Hang on a second. Why are we back to the old webs? They gave us a brand new set of webs with the PS5 Spidey figures. And they were announced after this guy. I know they're exclusives, but this guy should have come with the new designs for the webs as well. We get the old school ones with the rounded tip end ones and the longer ones and the right angle web, and we get the spooled up web, which is begrudgingly my favorite of this bunch. You can attach the funnel web attachment to any of the webs that have their little connector on the end. But for the longer ones, this is heavy, these aren't strong, it's going to droop down. And lastly, a full array of hands, ranging from relaxed open palm hands with some texture for the red sections, and they've sunken in the web lines this time. It's like they can only do one or the other. Sculpt them in, or sculpt them so they're raised on the surface. We want neither, Hot Toys. Just make the lines smooth and then paint them black. That way his fingers don't look all segmented like this. Anyway, we also get two wall crawling hands. Two web whipping hands, and I like the fact that they've hidden the seams for the interchangeable palm panels in between the sculpted web lines. So maybe that's why they decided to sculpt them. When you plug in the effect part, then you can bring in one of the web effects, plug that in, and then you have this. When you have this installed on his forearm, just make sure the entire thing is lined up with his web shooter. I really wish we got pairs, Hot Toys, because I like these hands. I want one for either side. This one is meant for web swinging poses. There's a hole drilled through it, so you can insert the right-angled web into it. Whereas for this one, this is meant to be used for a mask holding pose perhaps. Last but not least, two closed fists already installed on him out of the box. What we're going to do now is get Spidey himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. This figure hits hard. It is absolutely breathtaking. Is it perfect? Is it the ultimate definitive Spidey? Maybe. For me, 100%. This is everything I was hoping for from a final swingsuit Spidey figure, and more. The proportions are very realistic. They've tightened up the seams and the tolerances in places versus their previous Spidey releases, and we get the best Tom Holland head sculpt to date. With all of that being said, putting my more critical hat on for a second, this is still a Hot Toy Spidey through and through. So that means not so durable materials, and you cannot leave him in a crazy pose if you want to maintain the integrity and the look of the suit. Is that going to be a deal breaker for you? Only you will know that. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Spidey's masked head sculpt. They finally fixed almost every single issue that I've had with almost every single previously released live action Spidey figure from them. The seam on the top of the head is practically non existent. It's still there, but because it's so tight and there's a web line over the top of it, from a distance, it doesn't jump out at me. And they fixed this bottom web line at the base of the neck. Instead of doing it on the neck part, they added it to the suit, and the vertical web lines match up perfectly. So this significantly better than their previous attempts at it. Then we get to the shape and size of the head sculpt. I think it fits in proportion to the body. It's round where it needs to be, where his ears would jut out underneath the mask. And there's the suggestion of his nose or the nose of his face shell around the front. The fabric that they've used on the mask is screen printed, and it's the same stuff they've used on the rest of the suit. If you are curious how you switch out the eyes, it's very straightforward. You push on the spiky bit up top, there's a divot that it slides into, then you can wedge your fingernail under it around the front to remove it and switch it out with a different one. Ooh, I like these ones. They're semi-squinted. They remind me of a comic book classic look for Spidey. So if I ever rock the mask look, which I'm tempted not to do because you'll see why when we get to the unmasked head sculpt, I'd probably end up going with these ones. Then again, the more squinted the eyes get, the more detail becomes visible on the lenses. You can see what looks like an aperture of sorts, how the lenses would open and close. And there's that honeycomb pattern on the surface of them. These ones are his most squinted. They're far from my personal favorite. They're there if you want them. I'm never going to use them with my Spidey. You can mix and match if you want to, and you can create some genuinely goofy looking expressions for Spidey. Oh my, this sculpt is perfect. I can see the likeness to a today version of Tom Holland from every angle. He looks a little bit older compared to the previous sculpts. There's plenty of skin texture, both sculpted and painted. And the hair, I mean, just look at it. There's so much volume and flow and detail sculpted in. Plus, they've hit it with a subtle metallic paint so light does bounce off the surface. And he's got a skin tone neck, finally. This is the first ever Tom Holland Spidey figure to use the swap out neck piece and have a skin tone neck. And it's the best one ever, so I'm glad they waited this long. The bottom web line on the suit rather than the neck piece makes that seem just so much nicer. And this sculpt has moving eyes. And this is why I love moving eyes. Being able to switch up the eye position also helps you tweak the expression. Now he looks significantly more serious. If you're curious how this all works, the head sculpt is attached to one of those clear plastic neck connectors. So if you do want to use this head on one of your previous Tom Holland Spidey figures, you may struggle with that. I don't know if it's going to be compatible. Maybe if you grab the clear plastic thing and pop it on the double ball peg for the Spidey figure that you want to use this head sculpt on. Now the eyes are just on individual ball joints / joysticks, so you can move them around independently if you so choose. So if you want a cross-eyed Spidey, that is doable. Oh, no. This is the integrated suit Tom Holland Spidey head sculpt also from the No Way Home line. It looks ridiculous on this neck because it doesn't have the same style of neck connector and there's that ridge on the inside of the sculpt. It doesn't sit all the way down on the neck and this is just not displayable. And the same thing goes, unfortunately, for the half-masked Peter Parker head sculpt. it sits up very high on the neck connector. Hello there! Homemade suit with its skin tone neck, and I know earlier I said that the new red and blue suit was the first Tom Holland Spidey to get a skin tone neck. I meant on a proper Spidey suit. This doesn't count. I love this a lot. I'm now thinking I need to pick up a second one of these sculpts so I can use it on the homemade suit body. Tech suit, anyone? It's been a while since I've looked at the tech suit on this channel. This is still one of my all-time favorite MCU looks for Tom Holland Spidey. And while the neck connector is not compatible at all, this sculpt is just being held on with blue tack, this looks surprisingly solid. What about this upgraded suit body from Far From Home, and I have the Edith glasses on the new sculpt. They are compatible, they fit perfectly. Just watch out for the frames because you will have to stretch them out a touch, and if you are not careful, the frames will do damage to the paint applications on the bridge of his nose and the tops of his ears. This is the first one that has me thinking, yeah, nah, I don't think so. The head sculpt is a bit too big on the Night Monkey body. This has somehow turned into a segment where I try out this head sculpt on all of the other Tom Holland Spidey bodies. Black and gold suit from Spider-Man No Way Home. Once again, not compatible, it's being held on with blue tack. I don't mind this at all. This, though, really good. This is the new head sculpt on the integrated suit body. And I also have him wearing one of the round code cover neck skins available from 1/6 kit. I could see myself displaying the integrated suit like this because this sculpt is so strong. Whew, okay, my finger's getting a workout with all these snap transitions. This is the last head swap we're going to look at. This is the Iron Spider body with the new head sculpt and a round code cover neck skin. Again, perfect. This sculpt works on significantly more Tom Holland Spidey bodies than it doesn't. So, Hot Toys, if you ever want to give us the option to purchase this sculpt separately, I'm in for a bunch of them. Back to stock. If you're curious how easy it is to remove the head sculpt and the neck piece, the answer is it's very easy. Then you can reinstall the mask and we're back to where we started. Around the back, there's a couple of interesting things going on. First off, I dig how the red part of the suit terminates in a point above the spider symbol. And this is a new back spider symbol. No longer do we have the squishy, techie looking one that screamed Stark. Now we've got Peter Parker's own idea of what a back spider symbol would look like. And I'm all for it. It's angular, it's sharp looking, and it's a simple design. The red on the blue, iconic pairing, no complaints there. They have added some new seam lines here though. There's more stitching underneath the armpits extending up the back so that the arms can sit flush by his sides without excess fabric getting in the way. Then we get to the blue material. It's a little bit sticky or tacky feeling, and that's because it's made of that rubberized style fabric that we're used to seeing with Tom Holland Spidey releases. It's very shiny, there is a lot of line work on the surface, and it feels fragile. Not a deal breaker for me. This is par for the course with Hot Toys and Spidey. They make gorgeous looking Spidey figures, and they can pose. Like, you can literally do the poses. But if you leave him in those poses, the suit's going to be fucked. It's going to be destroyed very quickly. The blue stuff will crease and tear, the line work will be all wonky, and it's going to look terrible. So if you pick this guy up, go in knowing that you're probably going to be better off with a character or museum pose, give him a head tilt and a bit of a waist turn, and leave him like that. Otherwise, there will be permanent damage done to the suit if you get too adventurous with the posing. The red parts of the suit, they're fine. Stretchy spandex with some subtle screen printing on the surface and the black web lines. The spider symbol is raised and it's black, unlike the official artwork where they went with the gold one. We will discuss this in more detail in the pros and cons segment later. Another clever little innovation is that they did cinch the end of the sleeve and they finished the edge, so it's not going to fray or peel when it's inserted into the hand over the wrist peg. And now this looks so much more seamless. You can match up the web lines with the suit and the hand so it looks like it continues all the way down onto the sculpted plastic. He even has the web shooters on the inside, they're these little triangles. So this is what I was talking about. You can see that rubber stopper right on the end of that sleeve. That just means the fabric is going to be significantly more sturdy than if they had have not done that. When you're posing him, if you find the sleeves riding up, exposing the bare plastic body, that just means you haven't tucked it in far enough over the wrist peg under the hand. Just to prove the point, when it's done right, you can bend the elbow to the max and the sleeve stays there. It's locked in place, no bare plastic body, so do tuck it in all the way. Quickly on his proportions, he's tall, he's lanky, but muscular. In certain areas, you can see the nice round shoulders, the traps are there, there's a subtle bump out to them. The biceps are rounded too, and he's got some ab definition poking through the stretchy spandex for the red part of the suit. The blue is thin enough that it does allow for a bit of muscle definition there too. You can see some anatomy poking through. Not nearly as much as with the red sections. This is thicker than the spandex. The legs are entirely covered in the blue rubbery material. It looks very impressive. You got the crosshatch design work and the shine. I cannot get over how good the shine looks. It's fragile. Once more, do be careful with it. We've got various different patterns on the surface, so there's a lot of visual interest. And the blue does terminate in a sharp point above the red boots. It looks like the fabric is being tucked into the ankle connector. Don't worry about that. You can pull it up, and there's some padding on the inside, so we don't have the ugly spidey ankles that we're used to seeing. There's even a little bit of an ankle visible underneath the red fabric, like that's a real body underneath the boot. Speaking of underneath the boot, we've got some sculpted tread. For a quick side-by-side comparison, on the left, final swing suit, and on the right, homemade suit from Spider-Man Homecoming. Look how far our boy has come. He's gone from wearing trackies and a hoodie with its sleeves cut off and very long socks, to the suit on the left. This is a full circle moment for him. He's gone from having a homemade suit back to having another homemade suit, but a far more advanced one. Which one do I prefer? I like the posing capabilities for the figure on the right, but the look of the figure on the left, I just don't think you can beat it. Then we had Tech Suit in Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming. This suit has a special place in my heart and a lot of collectors' hearts because this was the first suit we saw Tom in the MCU, so it's not going anywhere, ever. It's always going to be in my collection. He is shorter than the new red and blue suit. I like different things about each figure. I think the proportions are stronger with the new one though. Hang on a second. Is it just me, or are the figures on the right slowly getting taller? Timeline-wise, it checks out. I didn't know that Hot Toys were doing that with the scaling. Upgraded suit Spidey from Far From Home is a lot closer to the height of the new red and blue suit as compared to what we just saw with the tech suit. I barely ever see this figure in people's collections because it was hard to come by. It was from the D23 Expo and they released a limited number of them. They then later released a similar but churro-less version of him in Hong Kong and on Sideshow, I think. This is the web suit. As you can see, he is, just like the other Spideys, shorter than the new guy. Someone tell Hot Toys that we need a 2.0 of Iron Spider stat, because this guy, proportion-wise and material durability-wise and just look-wise, he's dated. He is almost the same height as the new release. This guy isn't, it's Night Monkey from Spider-Man Far From Home. Nobody wanted this release. I did. Nobody else, it seems, because he was on sale after sale after sale, and I still think that he's available. Oh, this one. The black and gold suit. That is not at all accurate to the movie. This is the reason why Hot Toys takes as long as they do to release a figure after the film has come out. Because then the film is finished and the designs are finalized, and they can make the figures actually accurate. This came out before the film released, and it looked cool then, but now it just looks ridiculous. Because like I already said, it's not accurate to anything. Chimney Sweep Spidey, this is the battling version, the slightly dirty looking upgraded suit Spidey from No Way Home. You can tell because he's got the dirt on him. And they ditched the panels for the belt area. I would have liked to have seen a clean version of this suit too. The upgraded suit from Far From Home without the added belt panel detail. Look at the boys. On the left, friendly neighborhood Spidey. On the right, Amazing Spider-Man 2. And in the middle, Tom. I do have the flanking Spideys with the custom head sculpts on. If you don't like that, okay. That's just how they're currently displayed in my collection, and I'm not going to ditch the head sculpts. I like them. Next to Tom in his final swingsuit, technically not screen accurate. I don't mind that. In my display, this is going to be my iconic Spidey trio. My two favorite Hot Toys Spideys. Integrated suit with the custom V-Dot Collectibles head on with some battle damage, and the final swingsuit. This represents my favorite Spider-Man movie as well. We have the integrated suit before he ditches all of this Stark tech, and then the final swingsuit when he's going out on his own and he's creating his own homemade costume. He is pretty tall next to the upgraded version of Green Goblin from No Way Home. Spidey holds his own. He's almost the same height as Willem Dafoe in this outfit. After No Way Home came out, everyone had a hankering for something action figure-wise for the final swingsuit. So they went and started watching my old, terrible review for the Spider Armor Mark IV from the Spider-Man PS4 game. The only real similarity here is that the blue is metallic. It is a completely different feeling material compared to the final swingsuit. And lastly, Sony, you have one job. There's one more Venom film coming. Supposedly it's the final one. So do this. This Spidey against this Venom with a spider symbol. And then we can get Hot Toys figures based off that movie. Going over articulation, starting off with Spidey's head sculpt. Because it's on that clip mechanism at the base of the neck, you only really get the double ball peg up underneath the head itself to work with for posing. Looking forward to there, looking up to there, just enough range for a convincing web swinging pose, swivel and pivot side to side. The arms are on clicky ratchets going up to there, going forward and back on soft ratchets, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down, swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow, then for the wrist peg, it's a ratcheted hinge and swivel. His torso crunches forward to there, going back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His legs go forward on clicky ratchets to there. If you pull the fabric for the pants out from inside the hip joint, then they might go a little bit further. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee, going past 90, and then a hinge and swivel for the ankles. Good for forward and back, swivel as well as ankle tilt. Lastly, toe articulation. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is, this base looks great from the front, but from the side, and especially from the back, not so much, because this bracket piece that you attach the flight pole to is not removable. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why. It's just glued on, so for me, I'm gonna snap the darn thing off. It adds way too much unnecessary depth to the base itself. The second annoying thing is the blue material looks outstanding when it's in pristine condition. It's not durable. If you pose this guy like crazy, it's going to look terrible very, very quickly. Third annoying thing is, remember these? Hot Toys, your latest web technology? You gave these to us with your PS5 Spidey figures. Not with the final figure from the Spider-Man No Way Home line. Very strange. I would have liked to have seen the new style webs included as well as the original ones. The first cool thing is they have finally perfected all of the little innovations they've been working on since the very first live-action Spidey release. The seam on the top of the head is still present, but it's so minute that it's practically non-existent. The same thing with the neck seam. There's a web line at the base of it, and the vertical web lines connect from the neck piece to the suit itself. You can tuck the suit into his hands and the web lines connect there. Then down below for the ankles, no longer do we have ankles eating the suit fabric. There's even a bit of definition on the outside of the ankle to make it look more realistic. The second cool thing is the unmasked head sculpt. They've done everything right here. The skin tone neck with the fabric part blending in really nicely with the suit. The likeness is spot on, and it's got moving eyes. The third cool thing is what I like to call a tactical inaccuracy. This spider symbol is meant to be gold. On the front of the box it's gold, in the Spider-Man 2 game it's gold, and in both the concept art and official images that Sony and Marvel released of this suit, it's gold. Thank goodness Hot Toys ignored that. They made it black, and I reckon the suit looks all the better for it. Wrapping up on the GOAT, the most beautiful, iconic, eye-catching, comic book-looking live-action Spidey suit that I have ever seen on screen. The moment he slipped into this and he was swinging around, I was giddy, like a kid on Christmas, because I knew that Hot Toys would not pass up the opportunity to make that in 1/6 scale. And they did make that, and they made it really well. This is their best attempt ever at a live-action Spidey. It's not only the best looking. The seams are so much better on this versus any of their other attempts. The suit is shiny and metallic where it needs to be, but matte for the red sections. And we get an incredible Tom Holland head sculpt with moving eyes. But back to the suit for just a moment. Going with metallic blue seems like a questionable choice in live action. Why couldn't they just go matte blue? They've done it before, why not do it again? Well, the thing is, when you light this correctly, it looks like there's muscle shading and there's cell shading and there's shadows on the surface of it, because they've added all of this line work. That simulates cross-hatching in the shadowy areas of the blue. I think the metallic is genius, and it works really, really well in 1/6 scale. I cannot wait to see this suit again in live action. Disney, Marvel, Sony, whoever the heck is in charge of costuming, don't touch it. Don't you do anything to this suit, because this is exactly what I want to see and a lot of fans want to see for Spidey going forward. As for the figure, get it. You are not going to regret it. And if you have space for the diorama base, go for the upgrade. In my opinion, it's deluxe or bust. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research, make sure you are comfortable before buying. I have popped a link to their site in the description below, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.